Hello. How is everybody? I know it's early, but I feel like we can talk about it and get into this tea about Castor, and we can go from there. Mm. Hi, good morning. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Mm-mm-mm-mm. How is everybody doing this morning? I am doing wonderful. I hope you are too. Mm-mm-mm-mm. But we're going to get into this tea, this new tea about Castor Semenya. And I'm going to give y'all some background on it just in case you don't know the case. Mm. Hey, Brandon. Good morning. How are you? I'm up early. Well, I usually get up early for the past month. I've been getting up at 6 o'clock to work out at 6:30, trying to lose some of this weight. Ooh, my shirt is raveling. I know that this is not good to do, but it's just an old shirt, so I don't care what it does. Um, yes. So, I'm going to give folks a little bit about 2 minutes. Then start. What are you eating for breakfast, Brandon? Okay. Basically, the new, the new news is she lost her appeal. Basically. Hmm. Oh, nice. Lots of fruit. More chips and salsa. Absolutely, they sure have, Stephanie. I'm gonna start in like 5. Oh well, I thought I was gonna do 8:55, but okay. All right, so let's go through. So this case has been going on for since I have been on YouTube. That's why it's kind of wild to me. Because I started on YouTube in 2008, and I remember talking about Castor in 2009. All right. So in August of 2009, Castor was 18 years old, and she won the world 800 meter gold in Berlin at 1 minute and 55 seconds. Um, Afterwards, the IAAF revealed that the athlete, Castor, um, needed to go through a gender verification process so she can declare her eligibility to compete in the next 11 months. Because during when she won, there were questions about her gender. Because if you go look at Caster Semenya, she looks not necessarily like a man, but could be not. Do you see what I'm saying? She has a look that is like, oh, like when they would have videos of her and you could see stubble on her face. So it was obvious that something was abnormal about at the very least, abnormal about her femaleness. You feel what I'm saying? She would have stubble on her face. She had a very, very flat chest, and she just looked more masculine, to where possibly if you were another cisgender woman competing against her, you would, being that you're a part of this, you're trying to be an Olympian. You're a part of this Olympian, and you're looking at like, why she got a beard? Is she taking, like, is she doping? Like, is she taking medication? Let's make testosterone. Let's make her stronger. Like, what is happening over there? Because this doesn't look right. This looks like somebody who is cheating, or you could, if you were a person competing against her, and because her numbers were so crazily different, it was like, wow, she's fast. Like she could be doing something wrong. So everybody put it in question, like, yo, this don't feel right. This doesn't look right. This is all based on looks. This doesn't look right. So people started questioning her gender. Is this a woman? Is this, what is going on? So they put her in 2009 through a gender verification process, meaning that she had to go and be examined by a doctor to determine if she is a natural born woman, if she is a cisgender woman. So she went through the process. She passed. She is a cisgender woman. But she has something that is called hyperandrogenism, which means that, okay, testosterone is an androgen. And I'm trying to break this down in a layman's term. So androgen. So she creates naturally, as a cisgender woman, she creates more testosterone than the average female. Okay? So there's a masculinization that happens with her because her body naturally produces more testosterone than the average woman. So, and this is why this is a conversation that's important to trans people. Well, important to me. I don't know if it's important to other trans people, but I've seen other trans people talking about it. Is because this is what we're talking about. Motherfuckers act like they know about biology, and they want to act like biology is black and white. They want to act like biology is male, female, when there are multiple ways that you can be that is in that gray area. It's not just set in stone. It's so many people naturally, biologically, that teeter that line of gender. Oh, well, not gender, more like sex, biological sex, that teeter that line of biological sex on, being intersex and in the middle, and not necessarily intersex in the way of how we stereotypically think about intersex. Intersex, most people think about genitalia down there. What is it ambiguous down there? Do you got a penis? Do you got a vagina down there? Like, we think about the actual physical structure of genitalia, when there are multiple other ways that sex can be different, and in regards to your body structure, your brain, the chemical makeup, the genitalia, everything in regards to biological sex is just not what's between your legs. It's so many ways and variations the human body can present the sex of the human body. It can be variations. It's not just male, female. Yeah, those are the stereotypical, but everybody who's on this earth doesn't fall in this perfect female spot, perfect male spot. There are, a lot of people talk about, there's only XY chromosomes. You either going to be an XX or XY. That is not true. There are plenty of people who are born with 2 X's and a Y. There are people born with 3 X's. There are XX male babies. These things are rare, but not rare to the point. Like, let me explain to you. So there are men who are born with an extra X chromosome, okay? And this happens, scientists The experts have said this happens from 500, every 500 male birth to 1,000. This is the estimate, from 500 to 1,000. So I want you to think about that. So every 500 to 1,000 male births, there is a male that is born with an extra X chromosome. Now think about the billions of human beings on this earth, the multiple billions of human beings on this earth. Divide that by 500 or 1,000, if you want to do a less frequent number. How many men are born with an extra X chromosome that we don't study how that extra X chromosome affects their lives, affects their development, affects their bodies, affects everything? There's so many things. So there are multiple people who fall in different places on the spectrum of biological sex. So in 2010, this is after she passed, Castor, the IAAF announced Semenya is cleared to compete again. So she passed and proved that she was a cisgender woman, okay? The process initiated in 2009, the case of Castor has now been completed. And they said the process is later revealed is like a hormone treatment. You know, she should go on a hormone treatment. They also, in 2011, if she, if she's going to compete, in 2011, they announced they were adopting new rules. So clock that. Because of Castor, they created new rules that govern the eligibility of female with hyperandrogenism. I'm saying it wrong. Hyperandrogenism. Androgenism. Well, no biological words. So they created a rule specifically for her. If that's not motherfucking racism, I don't know. Because if you think about it, I want you to really think about sports. This is a Black African woman that they are creating new rules under the guise of we are trying to be fair to other women, and we have to make rules because you have this testosterone thing that you got going on that's giving you an advantage. This genetic biological advantage that you have is making you beat these people. I want y'all to clock that. Why people are calling this, why I'm calling it, and other people are calling this racism, because this does not happen to other motherfuckers. This does not happen. So when you think about it, so she's a Black woman with this biological advantage. Not something she didn't take no drugs. This is something biological that's in her body that gives her an advantage, that makes her an elite athlete. When we look at Michael Phelps, the white male swimmer, there have been tests done on his body to figure out why he is such biologically made to outdo people in swimming. What they found out is that his body produces 50% more lactate acid, which gives him less room to get fatigued. It makes his fatigue come less quick compared to everybody else who have a normal level of lactic acid. He literally has particular biological things in his chemical makeup that makes him get less fatigued, and that he was praised for it. He has a bigger lung capacity. He has a bigger arm wingspan. So bigger lung capacity, 50% more or less. I can't remember. It's something about his lactic acid. I think it's less or more. I can't remember. Anyway, he creates his lactic acid, makes him have more endurance because he cannot get fatigued as fast as other swimmers. Nobody is making rules in his field to get him to not play, to have to lower his advantage against the other swimmers, other male swimmers. Nobody is doing that. Nobody is making special rules for him. Why are they doing it to Castor? From something that's naturally happened. Now that she's passed and she's proved that she is a cisgender woman. She just has this natural advantage, a natural unfairness. That's like saying, Shaq, because you're 7 foot fucking tall, you can't play basketball because you have a natural unfairness by having so much height compared to the other dudes who don't have that much height. They like 6'10", they 6'11", they're 6 da 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 da. You're 7'1". You have too much. No. You need to take medication. You need to do something to make yourself taller. Nobody's doing that to him. Nobody is saying that natural advantage that you have in basketball, it needs to stop. It needs to stop. We need to make the rules. You only can have this much height. It's unfair. Nobody is doing that. But they do that to this African Black woman. Nobody is doing that elsewhere. Where is that happening? You can't tell me that that's not racism. Where is it happening everywhere that a natural advantage is being regulated or asked to be regulated? So anyway, so the rule that they made in 2011 was that there is an upper limit to women's testosterone level set at this amount, at a certain amount. For anyone above that, they require to take hormones to lower their level. So they made a new rule for Castor that said you had to be at this level of testosterone. If you're higher, you need to take hormones, like actually put drugs in your body that you don't need to lower your testosterone level. The ruling was expected to hamper Semenya, but she goes on to win the silver. She didn't win the gold. She won the silver. So there was another girl who actually beat her. She went on to win the silver in the London Olympics, having done the same at the 2011 World in, I don't know how to pronounce that, the Daegu. Both medals were bumped up to gold after Russian winner Maria Savina, she was found guilty of doping. So the cisgender girl was found guilty of using drugs who won the gold against her. And they bumped hers up to gold because she's not using any drugs. This is naturally in her. Boom, the T. In 2014, the teenage Indian sprinter, Adut Chad, appealed to the courts of here she go again. So another cisgender girl in India, that's Duti, Chand. These some foreign names, I can't pronounce them. She too had elevated levels of testosterone. And so they tested her gender, blah, blah, blah. She was cleared to compete after she was suspended for the same exact rules that they set up for Castor. Okay, that was 2015. In August 2016, Caster Semenya wins the gold at the Rio Olympics. But the triumph is overshadowed when the president of IAAF says it will challenge Castor's ruling. Once again in 2018, they announced a new rule which would force female athletes to reduce and maintain their testosterone levels to no greater than 5 milliliters, or whatever it is. So the rule was, it was open, like as long as you're not doing any drugs. Then they changed it for Castor in 2011. You have to have 10. You can't be higher than 10. Then they re-changed the rules that you can't be hired in once you kept winning. Once you hired, you can't be hired in 5. Now in 2018, you can't be hired in 5. So when have y'all seen this happen? Clock this. When have y'all seen the rules being changed? What is the color of their skin? When the rules are being changed, what is the color of their skin? Who is winning? Who is winning when these rules are being changed? What's the color of their skin? Because when the other people are winning with their advantages, their biological advantages, we're not talking about people doping. You know, we know people dope. Look at Maria Sharapova, whatever that tennis name is. You know, tennis chick name is. They was fucking testing Serena Williams over and over and over and over. I'm still the greatest athlete with no drugs. Still dominating this sport with no drugs. And y'all little white girl that y'all try to read me and say I look like a man and she's the beauty and I'm the beast. She was doping and drugging. And was still losing. And was still losing. How bad do you have to feel to be cheating? To be cheating, doing drugs that make you better, and you still lose to the bitch that's not doing drugs. How bad do you got to feel when you already got to feel bad because you lost when you went home, but to go home and know that your ass was cheating, and you still lost? Woo! Got to hurt your little white soul. Got to hurt your little white soul, baby. Your little white soul got to be hurt. Not that you have one, but yeah, your little white soul got to be hurt. you got to go. But anyway, so they changed the rule again in 2019. So last year, Semenya loses her legal case against the governing body, the IAAF, which means she will have to take medication to reduce her testosterone if she wants to keep running 400 meters for a mile on the international stage. So she sues them. She's like, yo, enough is enough. It's been 10 years that y'all have been fucking with me. And now y'all are trying to make me take medicine that I don't need to take, with all its effects, without its increase of breast cancer. It's so many things that can happen with me taking these drugs just so I can compete, when I have proven over and over again that I am a cisgender woman. And you're trying to I have followed the rules as far. I took medication to lower him down, but now it's getting out of hand. Y'all keep changing the rules. Y'all keep changing the rules, so she sued their ass and didn't win. So I already explained that in early part of the recording elementally element. The issue with intersex people, the state of being intersex. When people think of intersex, they are thinking usually, not all the time, usually about genitalia. But intersexness doesn't always show up in just the body part of your genitalia. It can show up in your chemical makeup. It can show up in your brain structure. It can show up in your genitalia. It can show up in many, many ways. It's just not one way, because the biological sex of a human being is not black and white. It's not male or female. There are many layers. There is a spectrum. You know how we talk about homosexuality and heterosexuality and everything in between, pansexual, how we talk about sexuality is on a spectrum, the actual biological sex is actually on a spectrum too. If you talk to any biologist, a lot of motherfuckers, particularly when they're transphobic, they try to act like they don't have a higher than fucking 8th grade education on biology. They try to say it's only XX and XY. It is not only XX and XY. It is multiple things that can happen that the chromosome can develop in a certain way. And Castor is one of those human beings. Not just, we're talking about biological sex. So, okay, let's talk about that, JD. That's a good call out so I can explain it. So human gender is a social construct. Biological sex is rooted in chromosomes. Gender is about culture, gender expression, how each culture expresses their gender, man and woman. Man and woman, don't conflate man and woman with male and female. There is a difference between man and woman and male and female. Male and female is rooted in biology and chromosomes and those things that you cannot control in your DNA. That's male and female. Man and woman, although people, when they're talking, they conflate them. Man and woman is gender. Male and female is biological sex. Not even by like actual chromosomal sex, because biological is, I don't like using biologicals, because even though I'm a trans woman, I'm biological. I'm living. Biological means you're just living. You're a living organism. So not biological sex. That's not the right term. Chromosomal sex. That'll be a better term. So language does not always work. So so it would be human sex is fluid. You see what I'm saying? And the Kinsey cell he was mostly talking about sexuality. But human sex is fluid as gender. Absolutely. Those are two different things. And gender is fluid because one country, a woman could dress like this and look like this and be this, because there's like go to India or some other being. There are other cultures. There are multiple sexes. So a woman could look something totally different than over here. You feel what I'm saying? The gender of a woman could look totally different because it's a spectrum. But when we talk about biological sex, there is also a spectrum. It's a spectrum of how your chromosome made your body manifest. So Castor is one of those people who was born with a vagina, who was born like a cisgender woman, but her chemical makeup made her her body create more testosterone naturally. We see this in other women. If you see the women with a little bit of mustache, you get a little bit sprigs of, they're a little bit taller. They might be a little bit leaner. They could have natural things because their testosterone may not be as high as Castor Semenya, but their testosterone is higher than the average cisgender woman. And so how that manifests in their body could be totally different. That you just won't notice it because they're not competing. Do you see what I'm saying? We're noticing it in Castor Semenya because she is competing as an athlete, and that matters. You see what I'm saying? There's tons of women with varying everybody. Cisgender women, cisgender men. There's some cisgender men who create more testosterone than other cisgender men. There's some cisgender men who create more testosterone. Everybody is on a different perspective, different spectrum of what their body creates based on genetics. And so when we talk about Castor being intersex, I don't know if she identifies as being intersex. I don't know how she identifies in that regards. But, clearly she is outside of the normal spectrum when it comes to cisgender women and how much testosterone, which is quote unquote, the male hormone, but we all humans create testosterone and estrogen. So it's kind of not right to make it to say it's the male hormone, but for the lack of a better term. But we all create it. And so clearly she's outside of the spectrum. She's in that gray area of human sex where yes, I have a vagina, but I'm creating this testosterone, which makes me superwoman, which makes me run really, really fast, which gives me an advantage, but it's a natural advantage. And so, is natural advantages unfair? Yes. It's like if I'm running against a fucking, against playing basketball, like I said earlier, against a 6'10" person, and I'm 5'11". That's a natural advantage you have. That's why all basketball players are tall as fuck, because we want to have that. We have that advantage in this game. We have that advantage. There's going to be some natural advantages that people have. How Usain Bolt, the fastest man in the world, what is going on with his body that makes him run so fast, that makes him different from other athletes? Why is he the fastest man in the world? What's going on with his body? And we do this to elite athletes. Biologically, we test them. We see what's going on in their body. That you see them got those machines and shit, all of those monitors on their body to see how their body works. And so, because we're fascinated, scientists are fascinated by it. Biologists are fascinated by it. So we find out things. That's why we find out what's going on with Michael Phelps. But we're just responding to it different. Thank you. We are responding to it different because Michael Phelps is an elite white male athlete. And Caster Semenya is an elite black woman athlete, female athlete. See how I shouldn't have mixed those. We're just so used to mixing those terms, female and male and man and woman. It's kind of cultural. But I'm trying to break that. Yes, it's like I just think it's totally unfair. So, why it's in the news recently? Let's go to that article. Because she took it all the way to the Supreme Court, so she appealed it, and she loses. She'd appealed the sports ruling. Meaning that she cannot compete in the 400-meter mile race unless she agrees to lower his testosterone level through medication or surgery. So in order for her to actually play this, the game that she plays, to be the athlete that she is, she has to either take hormones or get surgery. So she has to get surgery on her body to disadvantage herself unnaturally. She has to unnaturally disadvantage herself because she has a natural advantage. That's like going to Michael Phelps saying, yo, you need to take this medication that lowers your lactic acid. You need to take this you need to get this surgery to minimize your lung capacity to be equal to the average person's lungs. Wouldn't that be fucking ridiculous? That would be ridiculous. They wouldn't tell Michael Phelps that. They wouldn't do that. They wouldn't do that. Come on, they didn't do that. When they found out that he had these advantages, they didn't say, oh, you got to change. You got to get surgery. You got to take medicine to take your lactic acid down. They didn't do that. They're doing this to Caster Semenya because, I mean, why? Why? If it's not racism, what is it? Explain it. Explain it to me. If you know, explain it to me. If it's not racism, tell me what it is, please. What's the difference? He has a natural advantage. You need to get some surgeries to cut your arms down because you have bigger arms than the rest of the people. That doesn't even make fucking sense. That doesn't even make sense. It just doesn't make sense. I'm surprised they never try to destroy Simone Biles due to her extremely muscular body. hmm I think that physique. I don't. When I look at other gymnastics leaders, is that gymnast? Is it gymnast? Is that how you say it, gymnast? Yeah, gymnast. When I look at other gymnasts, her body, there are other ones that are just, now I want to say just as muscular because I haven't really compared in that regard, but they be looking muscular as hell. I remember like Dominique Dawes back in, let you know my age. I remember she was muscular as hell too. Um, the inception of athletes was through physical feats and abnormal physical advantages. Like literally, that is what elite athletism, being an elite athlete, is about. You have these abnormal physical advantages. That's literally like across the history. You're right. People are being hella problematic by scrutinizing her natural makeup of her body. This is why sports are whack. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Wow. How did a court even let that be put on paper? Because they're racist. That racism is global. Just so you know, it's everywhere. It's just not in the United States because of chattel slavery. Racism, the Europe is the OGs of racism. They're the OGs. So even though they're trying to make it seem like, oh, we're not America because we didn't have slavery, they didn't have slavery on their land. But they are the OGs. Well, they kind of did. But it just wasn't like ours in America. It was a new thing in America, a new type of thing. Not new, slavery wasn't new, but it was just a new level of disgust, new level of economic connection. It just was a new level. Slavery was they took it to a whole other level of industry in America. But racism is global and has affected the globe globally. Right, they're OGs. And so it's in everything. It's not just in so like fucking it's in everything. Racism affects everything. Everything. And this is just a way that it's coming up in sports. Mm-mm-mm-mm-mm-mm. So she will be racing in another category because the rule doesn't apply to this other category. So there's another category that she's going to be racing in the Olympics that the rule doesn't apply. It's not an overarching rule, but based on what they've been doing for the past 10 years, Caster, you know what they're going to do? They're going to once you get to competing in that other thing, they're going to change the rules and make it go to the other to the other metrics. Soon as those other cisgender girls get to complaining about their win, because that's another aspect of it too. How this started is because the other cisgender girls was like, "This is a whole nigga over here," and that's why this is why the trans is so connected to this narrative. Who can be a woman? Who can be a man? These things that if you look at some of the other side, quote unquote, look at how they're responding to her. There are people who's like, that's not a woman. When we talk about the connection between cisgender folks and transgender folks who are women, this is why the trans fight is important, because if you are supportive of transness, it breaks the gender binary. It breaks it. So where the problem with Black womanhood, not the problem, that's not the right language. The issue has been is that Black womanhood has not been enough to be in the feminine enough category. It's, because of racism, because of how our bodies are shaped, how our bodies are made. Look, you're always the you don't have access to that level of womanhood. It's always in question. Look at how they do Serena. Yes, she's a woman. Yes, she can have a baby. Yes, she can do all that. But look at how they treat her. Look at how they talk about her being a man. Look at how they ridicule her for being muscular in her shape, and how they talked about her early in her career. Now, of course, people are calling it out more often. But look at how if you break down the transphobia, it gives room for other people to be able to be whatever they want to be. You see what I'm saying? That's the connection. It gives room for people to. It don't matter what you are. There's not this. Womanhood isn't arbitrary. It doesn't. When you make it, we were talking about it in my interview with Kim Foster. When you make it where these are the criteria of womanhood, cisgender women who don't fit that criteria, cisgender women who don't fit into that category, can have a problem. When you make certain things the litmus test, oh, you're not a woman unless you have a period. You can have babies. What about the cisgender women who can't have a period? Who don't have any babies? You feel what I'm saying? Who can't have babies? They're really not. When you have that litmus test, it doesn't work. It just doesn't work, because you ostracize and marginalize so many people. So many people will fail that. Hmm. Excuse me. Hey, Coco. I want to see people have that same energy, same height and weight, instead of similar biological makeup, instead of sex and gender. That would be a quick fix. I think elemental. I don't really mind the separation of gender. I don't really necessarily mind it, but I would love for them just to shoot the shit, for shits and giggles, have categories that are genderless. Like particularly like around track, particularly around swimming, particularly around certain things that are genderless. I would want to see. Now, do I think that the person with a natural male body would dominate certain categories compared to somebody with a natural female body? A stereotypical, both stereotypical. Yes, physically the male probably will dominate track categories. You get what I'm saying? Well, any a physical category, okay? So let you know that on average, yes, they might. But if you open it up where you don't have gender, like gender categories where anybody human can race with any human, there are going to be people in that middle. So say you have males that dominate it. So yes, the fastest person in the world might be a male compared to the fastest woman in the world. The fastest male might can beat the fastest woman because of does because of the natural male advantage of that testosterone gives. So sure, but there are going to be people. If you have all the human racers and runners in the world, there are going to be some cisgender women who outrun some cisgender male. So the lower caste of athletes may not be able to outrun the higher caste of athletes on the female side. Does that make sense? It has to make sense. Yeah, I said it right. There are going to be a spectrum of women who can outrun men. I just know that if they had it open, there are going to be some people that's in that gray area that, yeah, you were born a male, but I can outrun you. I may not be able to outrun the fastest male, but some of those males on the lower end, I can outrun you. And Caster Semenya might be one of them. Do you see what I'm saying? She will be one of the women who has that testosterone advantage that can outrun some of the men. And there might be one that has a lower testosterone on the male side. Do you see what I'm saying? There has to be, if they opened up, I would love to see them open up a category where it is a genderless category. Just to see what it gives. Just to see what it gives. See who is in that mid-range. What cisgender women are outdoing the males. What males are underperforming the cisgender women. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And then you will be able to see where trans people fall in that category. You know, trans athletes that fall in that category. That would be cool to see. I would love to see that. I would totally, totally love to see that. Oh, thank you. Everybody's commenting on my hair. Yes. This is my, I used to rock this back in 2012, 2013. I think they should test everyone or no one, though. It's not fair, and it seems problematic to point certain people out to be the test biologically. That is a good call out, Elemental, because think about it. Okay, so you made the rule. Okay, so you made the cap 10. Well, no. Remember, they changed it and took it from 10 to 5. So you made the cap 5. So Castor has to take medication to get her to 5. What about the girl who's naturally at 5? Compared to the girl who is naturally at 3. I'm a runner, I'm at 3, and this runner is naturally at 5. If we're talking about unfair disadvantages, now we have to point out that this one who is naturally at 5 has an advantage over the one who is naturally at 3. So do we need to drop her down to 3? Why? And if we don't need to drop that 5 down to 3, why has Castor had to drop from more than 10 or 10 down to 5? Like, why is everybody being treated differently? Well, we know why. I already called that out. Why can't the girls meet up to the other girls? Girl, you at 3, you need to get up to 5. Why is it that would be, if you're really caring about fairness, then everybody need to be at the same level. And on the opposite side, this would not fly if it was on the male side. Males would not fucking play that game. They will not let you put no fucking medication in their body that lowers their testosterone. They're not fucking doing that. They wouldn't have it. They would go off. They would protest. They would do so fucking much because they care about their fucking masculinity and their maleness, and testosterone is a pinnacle of that. And they will go. If you told a male athlete that created natural more testosterone than the other dude, and you told him he had to take estrogen to reduce his testosterone, they would not have it. They wouldn't even think about saying it. Wouldn't even think about telling a dude that. They wouldn't even play that game with them. They would not. Come on. Yeah, right. Exactly. Being male isn't guaranteed win in a situation. Exactly. The best athletes are the best athletes. Mm-hmm. some current WNBA players could easily outplay some current NBA players. Definitely facts. Exactly. Look at like remember what's the little short Muggsy Bogues? Remember the little short basketball player? Like he's one of the shortest basketball players. He just had to step up. He just had to really step up his game to be an elite player, and he was drafted. Is that his name? I remember he was like a short basketball player. Is it Muggsy Bogues? Not Muggsy Bogues. That's like a mob boss. I don't know. What's it? His name is. I don't remember his name. Let me look him up. I'm sorry. I'm not really into sports, or I'm here talking about sports like I know. Muggsy Bogues. That is the truth. I know a little bit of something. My stepdaddy would be proud. Muggsy Bogues was 5'3". Yeah, he was a short little daddy playing in this fucking sports where motherfuckers was fucking 6'9", 6'10", 6'11". He just had to step up his game to become an elite athlete. Honey, that's what it is. It was kind of sexy. Them lips. I'm going through pictures, honey. Look at this. Just short. Yeah, funny. But yes, I think that, and think about it. Oh my God, I have been an athlete since I was 18, and here I am having the same fucking fight through my whole fucking career. Like I'm just annoyed that she has to go through this. You know, initially I was like, yeah, girl, go ahead and get that test. Because when I first saw her, I was like, if I was a regular in the average range cisgender woman and I saw this big manly ass bitch with the stubble comes down her face, I'll be like, girl, I'm gonna need to see if this is what's supposed to be here next to me. I would be like that. I would be like, girl, you looking real muscular. You got stubble on your chin. Is this, honey, are you doping, girl? I need this. You need to be tested. I was with them. I was like, okay, I can see why they wanted her to get tested because we're on the, we're trying to be fair. And girl, if you out here doing the drugs, bitch, you on steroids and shit, then that's not fair, girl. I'm trying to be fair and run and compete with people who are blah 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 blah. But once the tests come back that she ain't taking no drugs and she's just a woman with some naturally advantage, bitch, I gotta step it up. I was like, cool. Once I know that you're not doing no drugs and you are just a natal born woman, cool. I'm not tripping. Once that happens, now y'all. But once y'all get to changing rules and get to doing little stupid shit, that's when it gets like, okay, now you're doing too much. The testing her, great. Yes, test her. You got stubble on your face, girl. So I need to know what's up. That's fair. That's legit. But once you let me know that pussy is right, that pussy's right. You were, you came out the puss as a puss. Cool. Then I just gotta step it up. And it should have just ended with that. Once she proved that she was a cisgender woman, it really should have just ended with that. It really should have just said, girl, step your pussy up, honey. What T.S. Madison say? Step your pussy up, bitch. That's what you gotta say. You gotta just step it up. But when the motherfuckers get to changing the rules, y'all changed the rules for her. Y'all changed the rules. Mm-mm. Shady. But yes, but yes, but yes, but yes. So I didn't plan on being here that long. This week's episode, next tomorrow, that's coming out for Marsha's Plate. If you are new here, we are I have a podcast called Marsha's Plate. The link is in the bottom. We will be talking about India Moore. India Moore is rumored to be dating a rapist. His name is Malcolm or Michael London, and he has admitted, and he has he's a community activist, and he has been um, he has been accused of rape on multiple occasions by multiple women. And one of the friends to the show, one of friends to our show, the host of Juju Podcast, which we didn't know, has come out as one of his victims that he raped. And India Moore is apparently dating this guy. And she is a trans actress on Pose. She plays Angel. And we are talking about that on this week's episode of Marsha's Plate. And yeah, if y'all want to hear my opinion on that, the show will be out tomorrow. I edited tonight. My goal always is to put the episode out at 12 a.m. 12 a.m. on Thursday. But sometimes my editing goes over time, or I don't, or I'm super fucking sleepy, and I'll put it out a little bit later. But my goal is always to do it at 12 a.m. on Thursday morning. So usually Wednesday night. But we will be talking about that. If you are a patron, that will be edited down because Mia, and Z talked a lot about a lot of stuff, and it will be edited down. There's an episode. Me and Hope Giselle got into it on our on Twitter, and we will be discussing that. I didn't want to discuss it, so I won't discuss it on the show. But if you are a patron, I always put our video up unedited, so it goes. We're going to talk about that. We do a lot of reading. So if you are a patron of mine, the video will be up and you'll be able to listen to the whole show, the whole full length of the show. But what we will be talking about on the actual show is India Moore dating this rapist. And so, and the fallout that's happening because of that. So make sure y'all search for Marsha's Plate. It is named after Marsha P. Johnson. Marsha's Plate on all platforms, Spotify, iTunes, Pandora. We actually was one of the first podcasts on Pandora. What else? Pandora, Stitcher. God, why y'all blowing me up? Any podcast that you listen, any app that you listen to podcasts on, we are on it. So you can listen to us there. What else is going on? I have videos coming that I have already pre-recorded. I have videos of some UK folks that I want to introduce y'all to. So I'm doing this UK connection kind of theme in one of these weeks coming up, where 2 weeks, where I'm going to talk to a bunch of my UK family. So just to kind of introduce y'all to some, some European, not as in white, but as in black, British folks and UK folks and, you know, black folks that are in the diaspora in the UK. Um, I'm so excited to share those conversations with you. They're some of my favorite people, and they're going to be amazing. So that is coming up. I have an episode with about HIV with trans folks, nothing but trans folks and non-binary people and cisgender people living with HIV. It's a panel of people living with HIV that are not cis gay male, because a lot of times it's centered, the conversation around HIV centers cis gay males. And so I chose a non-binary person living with HIV, a trans man living with HIV, and a cisgender woman living with HIV. And they're coming to tell their stories. And it is an amazing conversation. And I hope that, y'all are blessed by it and love it. I love the conversation. Can't wait to put it out. So definitely be looking out for that. What else is happening? Oh, I have a conversation with an amazing trans black trans migrant. A lot of times when we think about immigration, we think about Latinx folks, but there are black immigrants who are also being affected by immigration laws and who are disproportionately sent to immigration detention centers, which is also prisons, which are also these are just an extension of the prison industrial complex, and they are out here struggling, being forced into sex work just to survive, because they are, some of them are looking for a better life to come into the country. And so I interviewed one of my favorite black migrants, and to come on as an expert to talk about being black and trans and the intersections of being an immigrant and being trans and being black and how those all those intersections come to play. And yeah, I'm out here trying to give y'all good content as I normally do. And I hope y'all appreciate it. Make sure if you want to financially support, because I do try to make stuff happen with coins. Y'all can become a patron or donate, and all that information is down in the bottom. I just wanted to come on this morning and talk about Caster Semenya, because I thought it was new news and I think it was relevant. So I hope y'all have a wonderful day. Make sure y'all, when I cut this off, make sure y'all share the stream. Anytime y'all watching, make sure y'all thumbs up and share, just so people who might want to have a conversation can see us have it here on my channel. Thank you. And I will see y'all Friday.